So hello everyone, Myrmonden here, and welcome to my review of Ancient Magus Bride episode 7, a really good episode. Well, I will say this thing though, it was a little teasing, because I mean, as was the preview last week, I was like, okay, the sorcerer guy, he's gonna come here, they're gonna fight this guy, it's gonna be a battle, it's gonna be, and there was a cliffhanger, there was a cliffhanger, so a really strong cliffhanger, but I was like, come on, can we get there, I wanna see, I mean, obviously, I wanted to see, like, does Elias know this guy? Why is he doing this stuff? Why is he sparing the people? It was kind of clear that he was after Ruth, right? Because he's a kind of dog, human, black dog thing, werewolf people. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, that's kind of given that he's the man behind that, right? So I was like, yeah, okay, let's see what's happening. I mean, so that's a little teasing though. One thing I will say though, watching the preview this week, right away, so this might be spoilers then. So spoiler warning, I haven't read the manga, but just watching the preview, it is for sure that Isabelle, the sister to Ruth, is gonna be a Chimera next week. I think it's very clear in the preview. Previews are almost way too showy. I should stop watching the previews. It is way too obvious. So sorry for that spoiler. No, but come on, clear. It's so clear. I mean, I always watched the previews. I was like, okay, it's definitely here, because we see a kind of zombie with like orange red hair, and we see Ruth trying one of them. Of course, his sister. He resurrected her. And that's probably why I also want Ruth, right? Because they can make them into some kind of zombies or whatever, if they are already, you know, fairy humans. So something with that. So, but anyway, I like the whole thing there. He clearly was the one that sent them to the cat place with Matthew and so on, right? Clearly was him. I mean, because he knew what he'd done to him a few hundred years earlier. So he sent them there, right, to gather there, the ooze or whatever. And they failed with Elias, and of course she's cleansing it, and also after that, all the things. So yeah, he has tremendous power, but I'm very to see who he is, right? Because Renford lost his arm to him and so on, and Renford knew Elias and stuff like that, so he has to be some kind of a little senior sorcerer, but clearly Renford is completely afraid and completely under the thumb of the little kid, right? So clearly the kid is, you know, probably a very famous sorcerer, and probably like one of the ancient like sorcerers instead of being a mage. And yeah, and of course she's I mean, her name is Alice, but I don't know what she is, like his apprentice. Yeah, his apprentice. I never talked to her about maybe those evil guys like him, but yeah, he clearly is a famous sorcerer, I would say. So it's interesting to see him threatening him, right, with his plant chimera thing that later used against Chise. Very interesting. I'm very excited to see that. And so generally then the episode, one thing I really liked the episode was that we saw she's really growing as a character, and I mean growing as like more like a fighter, quick with it. I like that. Let's see her doing the potion thing, and while it failed, it did something. Okay, it's a sleep potion instead. And yeah, it was kind of predictable, but of course her accidentally creating a sleeping potion would of course be later be a weapon. Very predictable, but I still liked it, you know. It's a good character growing thing, right? Okay, I'm trying to create this potion, always fail. But this potion instead gave me a weapon, or I used the weapon later. So you know, it's a very good kind of like, okay, I learned from my mistakes, and also I can even use my mistakes as weaponry, right? Because they do something in this. I think that's a very good showcasing of Chise as a character, right? She's not just kind of helpless, whatever, wimp, right? She actually learns from stuff and also see the potential in her mistakes. I think it was very good. And of course, it was very quick-witted. You're like, well, potion, yeah, like accidentally. She was like, wait. Like, I mean, potion, yeah. So that was great how she also quick-wittedly kind of knew wait a minute, I can throw it at her and hopefully it works. That was great as well. So that was great. And also she's, for example, identifying that, okay, so Ruth, the dog, he has the same wounds as the corpse I saw earlier at the church ground. Right? It's like, okay, he has the same kind of injury. So he cannot done the injury. It has to be someone else. He has fought this thing. He's a good guy. So I think that was great. Everything with Chise was really good. Very good episode. I would say it's probably the best episode so far this season. Probably. Not as all beautiful as episode 3 and 4, but much more beautiful. Episode 5 had a good story. I don't know yet, but it's like a great episode nonetheless. Great episode in all aspects. As a story episode, it's probably the best. But one thing I also really liked, which I haven't mentioned yet, which I really liked, is I got back to what I saw in OVA, right? Because I watched OVA, and I really liked this in OVA when she was as a child, and she saw like, oh god, there's a ghost at the table, and she's like trying to walk to school. There's like a half-dead lady, is like, oh, you wanna help me? like, no, I don't want that. And she was completely surrounded all the time by this ghost, right? Everywhere she was going, there were ghosts here, ghosts climbing here, there were like evil zombies over there. Someone good, right? Let's talk about most. Someone good, but most were not good, and they were trying to like kill her or trick her, and yeah, all this annoying stuff to her all the time. So it was great seeing that when she entered the graveyard, which makes sense because like graveyards, because they're full of dead people, right? Full of ghosts and so on, and yeah, and then so first of all, we see the black the pool stage, and then we have the big caterpillar. That I really like that. I wish the anime had more of that. I love that in OVA, so I want to see more of that in the actual, the current storyline, to childhood. So that was great. Because the whole thing there was like, okay, she's questioning me stuff, she's asking me a lot of stuff here. I have to use like, not talk to her. It's like, wait here. I have to use not answer her questions, and if I do that, I can get away from her. So I think that was very, very interesting. How she did that. She kind of showing she's experience with this like haunted ghosts and so on. So yeah, generally I think it was a good. That was really good. I think, at least in my opinion, I think that was great getting some of that back from the OVA. I missed it. So hopefully there's a bit more of that eventually. Maybe not so much. It feels like when she lives with Elias in their house, the kind of garden and so on, right? But hopefully there can be more of that when she's out in town and so on. So, but anyway, I really like that. And also then, the ending of that was Ruth destroying the ghost. I think that was very, very clear. And I talked about that earlier with the familiar. So I'm gonna go on limit. No, I was kidding. I mean, I think it's very, very obvious. I mean, we know he's gonna live with them. And it's very, very obvious to me he's gonna be her familiar, right? You see Elias talking to that, he was like, you need to get a familiar, they can get some of your energy so they become stronger and they kind of make you not overblow and so on. We're gonna find someone that can, protect you with that. And then we see, of course, the dog, black dog, destroying the ghost with one grab. So he's obviously, he's already protecting her. And of course, he is like, you remember me from the sister, you look like Isabelle, you have the same kind of hair color, I really like you, you look you to be a nice person. So yes, I mean, obviously he's gonna be a familiar, and I like that the meeting up and so on. So I think it was a really good episode. I would say this is probably the most narrative-driven episode so far, though, right? Because of all of that. And then next week we're gonna see them battling at the end there. She's getting hurt, and Elias going cray. So I think it was a really, really good episode. But I will say one thing though, with the whole she's getting injured, I did not care that much, to be honest. I mean, it's like, oh, she got injured, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, she's the main character. It felt that was too early for that. I mean, I just feel that, and this is not actually on this anime. It's like in any kind of storyline. There's no way you're gonna kill off the main character in that sense. And you can say, oh, but this thing or this game, and I know also what my favorite game, my favorite game, this is one step, you kill off the main character halfway through the game, and I think it's a very interesting, very brave take on it. But the problem here is that we have Chise, and we just introduced the dog, which is obviously gonna be her familiar, as I mentioned, right? And because of that, she cannot die here, because there's a clear correlation in the storyline that we're gonna see her becoming friends with the dog, and he will protect her afterwards. So we know that her story cannot end here. That's the issue, right? Because she cannot die here. I'm not saying that's bad in this anime. I'm saying generally that's okay. It's a feeling ahead, right? It's a general thing there. Seeing her get injured is horrible and sense it's shocking, but it's just like there's no chance she's gonna die. It's just zero chance. And so he's like, nah, there's no way it's gonna happen. Mainly because we just introduced another character, and his character arc has to have her alive, right? So it'd be really weird if she died. So anyway, I think it was a really good episode. It had everything really. Growing character development, showing new characters, getting it back. It really had everything. I think it's a 10 out of 10 episode. And I'm really, really looking forward to next week. We're gonna see them fighting it out, probably finding out who this sorcerer kid is. And obviously Isabelle's gonna be a zombie, that is very clear. And we're gonna see Ruth and Isabelle's backstory and everything. So I think it's a great episode as well. So anyway, see you next week and have a great day.